What movie did we see, babe?
We saw 1001.
I've not seen this movie yet. Please
Wait.
wait. Wait to see the movie, then come back.
So we just got in from the movies and we wanted to share our honest thoughts.
Going in, like, what was your preconception of the movie going in?
My preconception was that this was going to be a movie about a young mother who, I guess, lost her son to the system and just basically a story of redemption, kind of getting back.
Kind of felt like it was giving off like Losing Isaiah vibes. Going in, I had kind of this predisposition that it was going to be something similar along the lines, you know what I'm saying? A mother, for whatever reason, lost access to the kid, and then just a journey to get it back.
Right.
However, it was not that. We're not really quite sure what it was. Now, to say Teyana Taylor wasn't solid, that'd be a lie. She was good.
She was very good.
Very good. And I don't know how many other movies she's done, or if she's done any, or maybe this was her first acting like main movie debut type thing. But she was definitely comfortable.
Very talented.
Very talented. Hell of an actress.
And it felt like an ode to New York, right? Like if you grew up in New York in the 90s, early 2000s, I think you would have felt right at home with the movie.
Right.
Just with the cinematography. Like it was a love letter to the city, I think, in some ways as well.
Right, in the time, the time period that they chose to do the movie in, and kind of like where it was based off of. But just opening up, it opened up to what we thought was a standard, you know, mom's lost touch with the kid and is trying to get him back type thing. You know, young child in the system, wasn't really responsive to his mother or to his mother, to Teyana's character, and wasn't really like communicative at all. So you would think just basic. He's been through a lot, doesn't know who to trust, or feels abandoned. So quite naturally, but as the movie progressed, they did quite a few time jumps that weren't very clear. So you kind of like spent most of the movie just trying to figure out like, where is this going type thing.
How do all of these storylines kind of connect? What's the so what of it all?
Right. Like, what's the whole point? I really don't know how the title matched up with anything. 1001.
That was like the last year that the film was set in, I believe.
2001, I guess.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, basically the film starts, like Nate was saying, with kind of like a interaction between Teyana Taylor and her son in the movie. She decides to take him from the hospital. He, I guess, hurt himself in his foster home. And then they decide to kind of go on this adventure living together.
But she had no real place to go.
Right. So it seemed kind of like haphazard. You know, she just kind of showed up. He seemed to recognize her. And then, the film kind of just tries to show them getting on their feet.
Which they barely got on their feet. Eventually ended up in a place, and then they introduced this male character named Lucky, who, you know,
seemed to have a resistance to
the idea of a kid being there.
Which seemed kind of like...
But lasted 10 seconds. Like, it was literally like on some yo, I told you I didn't want a kid, or I told you I wasn't here for the kid. And then literally like a minute later, he was like telling little man, you know, oh, everything's cool. I got you and your moms, and give me a hug. I'm like, what? So it was just, I don't understand. Some stuff didn't make sense. And then like out of nowhere, there was a 10-year time jump. You didn't know where Lucky was. You didn't know where little man was. You didn't know nothing. All of a sudden, little man's a teenager. They had to jump every bit of 10 years. But Teyana didn't age one bit. Now that could just be pretty. Black is not, black don't crack type situation. But it just wasn't tying together. It just didn't make sense.
Yeah. So, like Nate said, like there's a time jump, and then we kind of land into the early 2000s. So we see, what was his name? Terry was the nigga name, but then he changed it to,
right. She changed it when he was, I guess, because she took him and she wasn't supposed to. So that she got him a whole new identity. Now the nigga name is Damon or something, or Raymond.
So I think a part of the confusion that was coming across from us was also probably how we were feeling in the movie, like kind of just like not sure how all this made sense. But basically, when she took him from the hospital, she essentially kidnapped him and like didn't have any papers and things on him.
So I guess he was technically a ward of the state at the time.
So at that time, when we're seeing this play out in real time, we're just thinking, because she doesn't have custody, she isn't able to get this paperwork, but she kind of gets all new papers on him. Now, the reason that this kind of comes out now that he's a teenager is that, of course, the classic, you try to get a job, you're applying for school, and then things don't start to match up, which then kind of sparks the eye of the social worker, who then kind of calls it in. And
yeah, but then it didn't make sense, because then all of a sudden this sense of urgency of like, okay, let's find out what's going on here for real. But
and at this
by
point,
this time,
he's
17. He's 17
at least 10
years old. He's
right.
missing at least 10 years. He's 17 now. He's a couple weeks from being 18.
About to graduate. Yeah.
But all of a sudden, there's 2 police officers at the door, and and 2 service workers, or one of the teachers or counselors, and a social worker, and there's this importance placed on like, then they dropped a bomb on him. You were abducted. She wasn't even your biological mother.
So that's the mystery of the movie. Essentially, she was never, she wasn't his mom. From what me and Nate could kind of try to put together, they were maybe in a shelter at the same time, because the story was that she left him on a corner, and that's kind of why he went into foster care. But she told him eventually,
no, I actually found you on the corner.
Kind of still doesn't.
No one left you on the corner. I found you there, and that's how I kind of came into your life.
Yeah, but even with that storyline coming out, it still felt real anticlimactic. The whole time.
Well, they stayed on it for 10 seconds?
Yeah, it was
it was literally you were abducted, and then the next scene, him and her are talking in the living room like nobody's worried that I was abducted or none of that.
So it just didn't make sense if that was supposed to be the big emotional pull of the film. I kept saying this was unnecessary. Right. I didn't feel like we needed that element to still make it a decent film. It's also very long. So in slow pace, again, shot very beautifully.
If you tired, do not go see this movie. Yeah. You are gone. I'm talking about a nap. Yeah. You are in nap heaven. 10 minutes in.
Yeah. But again, if we just keep it about the actor's performance, I think they did the best they could with the script that they had.
Right. But everybody was solid. The kid was solid. As far as acting goes, it was on some Sundance Festival type stuff, Sundance Film Festival type stuff. But it ends with, this long hug, and then
the mom is basically
and then her character of even Tiana's character, as she's the last scene in the movie, and she just jumps in the cab, and the cab guy's like, "Where to?" She just looks up
so we're all left
on some weird smirk shit. We're like, so what's that? Are you going to the grocery store? Are you going to get another kid or something? What? It ended like that, but she had this weirdest smirk, all this was just for play. I
don't necessarily think it was for play, but it didn't seem realistic, right? Was she gonna go on the run? I mean, essentially she had been living in plain sight for the last 10 years, so It didn't make sense why she would flee the city. She seemingly didn't have no family, so it was
she didn't have a real good explanation for
why
anything.
It just didn't make sense why she would go through the hassle of taking him, because I guess she was relatively young when the movie started, so
right.
It makes sense why she would go through all of those hoops and changes.
All right, so baby, out of 10 kernels of popcorn, who do you give this? I'm gonna rate it a 4, and I give it a 4 because it had excellent acting in it. They had no real story, and I wish they had a direction, but the acting itself was solid, and that's why they get a 4, but nothing else made sense.
Yeah, similar. I'm coming in at a 4. It again was shot beautifully. I love the performance of the actors, but it isn't a movie that I would watch again. I was left with too many questions, and it just, yeah. So maybe it's something I gotta watch again. Maybe there were pieces I missed, but I'm not.
I'm pretty sure we got it. So we give it 4 out of 10 kernels.
Let us know what you think.
Let us know what you think in the comments.
Like, share.
If you see it, tell us something. Subscribe. We're gonna be bringing y'all More of this commentary to come. So have a good day.
All right.
Give us a watch. Let us know how you feel about it. Throw it down in the comments.
All right. Peace, y'all.
Peace.